Hi, and welcome to the Land Pioneers podcast, where we get to meet some of the most well-known and exciting land developers and related experts in the industry. Listen to the gems and learn from their experience. And today's guest is Ben Stewart from Core Projects. They are one of the preeminent land estate marketing companies in the industry. Ben is super impressive. He's worked from general real estate, progressed into selling Warralilly, which was at the time the first major subdivision in Geelong, and now he's at a position of a project marketing director. So a very rapid progression along the career. So some of the background to Ben, he's very much a seasoned professional, so deep passion for property development and real estate sales. Over 20 years of experience, he's built a very solid reputation to bringing development visions to life, connecting buyers with new home opportunities, and supporting developers to meet the needs and unique opportunities in the market. He's very much known for a very genuine and authentic leadership style. He leads with integrity, clarity, and a strong people-first mindset. And I'm really going to be excited to dig into some of the team philosophies that they've got in mind. He values collaboration and transparency, empowering teams and stakeholders to achieve shared goals while fostering a culture of trust and accountability. Beyond his role at Core, Ben is a committed advocate for the property industry. He's actively contributing to industry dialogue, champions Geelong, a very, very passionate Geelong resident, and supports initiatives that drive sustainable community-focused growth. A member of the UDIA's Committee for Geelong, Ben is a regular presenter at Geelong-based industry events. But before we get to learning more about Ben's journey, so here's a little bit about the sponsors of the show. So we are Eagle Vision, and with nearly 17 years of dedication to our craft, we've delivered 3D visualization excellence across 720 projects, including approximately 40 land estate subdivisions. So what makes Eagle Vision unique? Less is more, 24/7, and commitment to extreme transparency. Less is more, we focus on strategy, not just pretty pictures, 24/7 round the clock. Our team operates across multiple time zones to deliver effective and timely work, as we often have to work with completely unreasonable timeframes, as we were chatting about it before, Ben. And ultimately, extreme transparency, no surprises. We've built systems and processes to involve our clients at every step of the way. They get to see the machine's inner workings and can track their project's progress intimately. So experience the future today. Visit us at www.eaglevision.com.au and discover a world of possibilities. And now back to our guest. Welcome, Ben.
Thanks, Dan. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you today. Now, it was certainly very honoured to have a chance to come on. I know my co-CEO Nikki Hay was wrapped to come on the podcast. I think it was last year. So yeah, really excited to have a chat to you about all things property. Far away.
And specifically land estates. All of our guys are very passionate about new homes and housing. So in the beginning of your journey, I just want to touch on that. You moved sort of from hospitality to general real estate and then onto land developments. Can you just sort of fill us in on that rapid progression? How did that go?
Yeah, you mentioned rapid. If I do compare it to some of my younger colleagues in regards to how they progressed, it probably is a little bit more sort of measured. I do, and sort of tongue in cheek, I sort of use the Stephen Bradbury analogy in regards to my philosophy in regards to obviously we touch about sort of work and so forth, but it's sometimes you just have to be there. You have to be consistent. You mentioned Warralilly right up at the start. I came onto that project in 2010, so I've been working on that project in some capacity for 15 years. When I was out there, there was literally nothing. There was a farmhouse that had been renovated. There was not one single developed lot. That growth corridor has now got, there's probably maybe 3 to 4 years worth of land, but there's about 22,000 lots that are being developed, town centres, shops, multiple sort of schools. So sort of how I progressed is I left school early, so I sort of went a bit of a circuitous route. Um, got into hospitality, and there was two reasons to be sort of transparent. Apart from the fact that it's generally pretty easy to get into hospitality, but as a teenager, I was very much an introvert, and one of the things I was sort of trying to work out is, and that what I suppose it wasn't a sort of so I'm in my bedroom as a teenager, sort of writing up this sort of plan. It was how can I get better about communicating with people? So, um, got a job in hospitality. I did an advanced diploma in hospitality management over a couple of
Right.
years, which actually got me a place at uni. So I suppose the key takeaway from there, and I've got young children, I've got three girls, is sometimes like schools is really important, but sometimes, especially when you're a teenager, at that point in time, school maybe is not right. I was still able to sort of get to the point where I got into uni. Now I didn't go to uni in the end. I actually, one at my future wife, we met, and then within 4 months we'd gone overseas to Europe. Had put uni on hold for a year, but then never went back. So sort of worked in hospitality. Then when we came back, continued in hospitality, but my wife's a school teacher, so I'm working nights, she's working days. So it's clearly not going to work long term. And I don't know, Stan, if you've worked in hospitality.
I have.
Yeah,
I
not
know
a lot
what
of
it's
money.
like.
Yep. If you've got a
80 hours a
business,
week plus and
correct.
not a
Yeah.
lot of time. Yeah, yeah.
And Australians, I mean, I tip, but Australians traditionally don't tip. Whether that's sort of changed. So my wife and I sat down. I was like, well, what's the job that I can do that hopefully there's to a certain extent untapped income that would give me a little bit of flexibility. And we settled on real estate. So I printed off, I think it was about 20 resumes, and then I went around to every single real estate agent in Geelong. I got 3 callbacks. One was an interview for commercial leasing, which I had no idea about commercial leasing. I still sort of don't. So I didn't get that gig. There was another one with I don't know if you've ever come across Genman. You know the Genman real estate
I
philosophy.
have.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I rolled up to this interview. That company's no longer there. First thing he said to me is, "You need to buy this book, and you need to read this book, which was the Genman book. And then once you've read it, you come back to me and tell me if you want to get into real estate." And then I got an interview at another company, which was Jens Gaunt, which are no longer around. So that sort of started. And like to be honest, it was a really tough gig. Had no idea what I was doing a lot of letterbox dropping, door knocking. I remember the first prospecting activity I was given, which was I was given a copy of the Geelong Advertiser, and in the like the free ad section, I was told to call clients that were advertising their property in the free ad, like the
Right.
private section.
Yep.
People that generally advertise in that space, they don't like real estate agents. There's a reason. So I rang them, and because I didn't have a desk for 2 weeks, but I rang them, and the feedback was fairly strong. Now my approach probably wasn't the most sort of sophisticated. Sort of trudged along on real estate, listed some stuff, sold some stuff. I would probably say I was in general real estate. There's the really top performers. Yep. And that might be the 5 to 10%. They're the ones driving around in the nice cars. There's the guys in the middle, which I was sort of in that middle band where you're making enough money. Like I'm sitting in my first home, which is a dentist family that we built in 2010. The deposit that we had from that was from real estate. Um, and then down the bottom, there's the unfortunate group of people that it's just the churn. Like real estate's a really tough, like that general real estate. So I was at Barry Plant, doing my best, was not happy, in the role. I was unhealthy. I was a smoker at the time. Like I would have a cigarette, before I'd go into a listing presentation and then have a cigarette out. I horrified to think of the smell of me rolling in. I was living on food, service station food, so it wasn't healthy. I'd sort of put on a fair bit of weight. We didn't have kids, so it's sort of like, well, and I was renting at the time. It's sort of like, well, there wasn't any responsibilities, and the thing that I've realized over time is the key, apart from I've got this level of anxiety that sort of sits there that drives me to do stuff, but is responsibility. So if someone gives me a task, I've got to do it to the best of my ability. Like there's no if no buts. Like I'll sometimes lie awake